Thank you for watching News 5 After the Game. I'm Diane Derby. It is often sold to people as a quick fix to lose weight. Injectable drugs known as GLP-1s. You likely know them as Ozempic, Wegovy, or Zepbound. But in the last couple of years, people have gotten a hold of compounded versions without going to their doctor. Instead, often visiting places like med spas or weight loss clinics. News 5 Investigates found despite a change by the FDA limiting how these drugs can be produced, months later, they're still easy to find here at home. Here's investigative reporter Allison Zimmerman.
So this all started after a viewer told us about one of their experiences inside of these weight loss clinics, and we wanted to know more. So using a hidden camera, we're giving you an unfiltered look inside these appointments so you can see for yourself.
You are interested in some weight loss medication.
You probably could benefit from it.
You're medically healthy, and I think you're still good at sometimes less, but not qualified.
I don't think you would have a ton of weight to lose.
3 separate businesses and 3 different answers when we took a hidden camera inside businesses advertising GLP-1s or injectable weight loss drugs. We'll take you along our hidden camera experience in just a little bit, but first we need to explain what these drugs are and how they became so widely available. GLP-1s mimic a hormone in your body that regulates blood sugar and appetite, with weight loss noted as a side effect.
The GLP-1s were all initially done for type 2 diabetes.
They're more commonly known by their brand names, and there are typically requirements for getting them.
Body mass index of 27 or more with a comorbidity that's likely to improve with weight loss.
Dr. Bob Wilcox is a weight loss surgeon in Colorado Springs. He says GLP-1s have impacted the number of people seeking out weight loss surgery. Fewer people are doing so, but he also says nearly all of his patients have been on GLP-1s before they seek him out.
I mean, they've been shown to have great results for a lot of medical problems that are associated with obesity and some excess weight.
But in recent years, people told us they've gotten a hold of compounded versions of the drugs. Those are considered custom-made with similar ingredients. In this case, you may get a compounded version when these injectable drugs are mixed with something like vitamin B12 or come in a different dose. Compounded drugs are not approved by the FDA, but they are allowed to be made in bulk when there's a shortage of that drug. In 2022, semaglutide, the active ingredient in GLP-1 drugs like Ozempic, was officially placed on the FDA's shortage list. With no shortage, however, compounded drugs are only available for patient-specific prescriptions.
Typically, in the compounded world, what that might be is I struggle with swallowing a pill, so maybe I'm very young or very old. So a compounder will produce a powder form.
Michael DeStefano is a professor at CU Anschutz Medical School. He published research earlier this year about this direct-to-consumer compounded GLP-1 market.
We did see that in many cases, the businesses are referring to the compounded medication, or they're using the term FDA approved across their website.
His research, done in 2024, found nearly 200 locations in Colorado advertising compounded semaglutide, a majority of which branded themselves as weight loss clinics or med spas.
I think in close to half of the business websites we saw the compounded drug referred to as a generic, which also is not the case.
What would be an example of a generic drug? If someone thinks that they're maybe going in here and they're getting a generic Ozempic or something, but it's not, it's a compound.
There is no generic Ozempic in the US.
This isn't just happening in Colorado. These businesses exist all over the country. You can also find these compounded drugs online. But when the FDA removed semaglutide from its shortage list back in February, it said compounding needed to end by April. Dr. Wilcox stopped providing those compounds when the drug was removed from the list, but people can still get a hold of them today.
It's buyer beware, basically.
We found local businesses still advertising or offering compounded GLP-1s online as of August, but some of these places do not make it clear if they're providing a compounded version or not. I went into 3 of these businesses and got 3 different responses on whether or not I would be a candidate for these drugs. Now, for reference, I have a body mass index of 22. Here's what happened when I went inside these businesses.
I do not qualify for this. Okay. Because your BMI is below 25.
One place point blank denied me.
You probably could benefit from it, but at the same time too, like, I don't think it's you look like you're in very good shape.
Another place wanted to do additional testing.
The first thing we would do is we would basically start with like onboarding you, do a series of labs.
And the third place was willing to send it to me with prices starting at a couple $100s for the first dose.
We'll get it shipped to your house. It comes in a little cooler.
That provider even said I was medically healthy.
You know, you're medically healthy. And I think you feel good at 10 pounds less.
Holy cow. They're really doing this. They're causing the problem of eating disorders and severe health consequences by giving it out like candy.
That's a pretty serious allegation if they're causing the eating disorder problem.
Oh, I think so. I'll speak to that.
Janice Van Anrooy is a therapist who specializes in eating disorders. She was shocked when we showed her our experience.
Then it starts this, rampant ideal that you're supposed to have a lower body weight. It's an epidemic in our country, the drive for thinness.
We reached out to these clinics to see if they wanted to respond to us on camera. We did not hear back by our deadline. Medical providers can have different opinions. That is not illegal. The American Psychological Association says the mental health impact on these drugs is mixed. One study found people with obesity on GLP-1s had a slightly elevated risk of anxiety and suicidal behavior. Another study found GLP-1 takers without a known psychopathology were not any more likely to develop depression or suicidal thoughts or actions. But the therapist we spoke with sees some potential harm being able to easily get a hold of these drugs.
That's high risk because once they start, so what the studies are showing, if once you start losing weight, it becomes addictive.
Who do you worry about getting a hold of these?
Those people who have anxiety and depression and the underlying reasons that they are seeking weight loss. And if it's so easy to get, then teenagers, or young adults who don't have that support system to say, hey, that's dangerous for you. If they can just get their hands a hold of it, that scares me.
Currently, there are 2 FDA-approved GLP-1s for kids ages 12 and older. We did not find any businesses advertising to teenagers.
And Allison, you mentioned you can find these drugs online. So did you seek any of those out for this story?
Yes, so the experience in the physical clinics, the lack of consistency kind of made us wonder if it's the same online. So we tried this out. I went to some of these popular sites where people are getting a hold of these. I was denied by 2 of them and accepted by 1 of them.
All right, so what's being done about it, Allison?
Right, so Colorado's Attorney General back in February joined more than 30 other states asking the FDA to enforce regulations on compounding pharmacies. They also urged the FDA to crack down on counterfeit versions of these drugs being sold online. That happened around the same time the FDA removed semaglutide from its shortage list. We followed up with the Attorney General to see if anything new has happened since then. The AG's office told us they do not have additional information. Now, when it comes to the access of these drugs because of price, I have much more of my conversation with the CU Med School professor in the online version of this story on KOAA.com. Diane?
Such important reporting, Allison. Thank you.